It was raining that night when Emily first met Ryan. She was standing in line at a small coffee shop, clutching her umbrella, her hair slightly damp from the storm. Ryan was in front of her, laughing softly at the barista's joke. When he turned around, their eyes met, and for a moment, time seemed to slow down. He offered to pay for her drink, and that simple gesture became the start of something she never saw coming. They started talking first about coffee, then about work, then about everything else. Emily was an interior designer, and Ryan was a marketing manager at a tech firm. They had different worlds, but something about their energy just clicked. What was supposed to be a 5-minute chat turned into a 2-hour conversation. When they finally left the cafe, it felt wrong to say goodbye, so they didn't. They exchanged numbers, and by the end of the week, they had already seen each other twice. Their connection was electric. Late-night phone calls, inside jokes, surprise visits, everything felt exciting and effortless. Ryan had this way of making Emily feel like she was the only person in the room. He'd say things like, "I don't know how I got so lucky," and Emily would laugh, thinking she was the lucky one. After 2 years, Ryan proposed during a weekend trip to Cannon Beach. The sky was painted in gold and pink, waves crashing behind them as he knelt down in the sand. Emily didn't even let him finish his sentence before she said yes. Everyone around them cheered. It was the happiest moment of her life. Marriage felt like a dream at first. They moved into a cozy apartment in downtown Portland, decorated it together, and filled it with laughter and candlelit dinners. Ryan would send her good morning texts every day, even when he was sitting right beside her at breakfast. Friends called them the perfect couple, but perfection doesn't last forever. It started with little things. Ryan began coming home later than usual. He said he was working on a big project at the office, and Emily believed him. She noticed he started leaving his phone face down on the table, or he'd take calls outside, whispering things she couldn't hear. When she asked, he would smile and say, "Just work stuff, nothing to worry about." She trusted him because she loved him, and love, she thought, meant not doubting the person you married. Weeks passed, and that uneasy feeling grew. Ryan wasn't the same. He stopped holding her at night. Their conversations became shorter, colder. When she tried to plan date nights, he'd say he was too tired. Emily told herself it was just a rough patch, that every marriage had them. But deep down, she felt something breaking. One Saturday, Ryan said he had to go to Seattle for a last-minute meeting. Emily smiled and kissed him goodbye, but after he left, she noticed he'd forgotten his laptop. She called his phone, but he didn't answer. Hours later, curiosity, or maybe instinct, pushed her to open his laptop. She didn't want to snoop, but her hands moved before her mind could stop them. His email was open. At first, nothing seemed out of place until she saw a message thread labeled R. Her heart raced. The last message read, "Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you." Emily's stomach turned cold. She opened the thread and saw months of messages, photos, love notes, plans for weekends she thought he'd spent working. The woman's name was Rachel, a coworker from his office. Emily sat there, staring at the screen, her hands shaking so badly she could barely breathe. Every memory, every promise, every "I love you" flashed through her mind like a cruel movie. She didn't cry right away, she just felt numb. When Ryan came home the next day, she was waiting. The house was dark except for one lamp. He walked in, smiling like nothing had happened. She asked him if he loved her, and he said yes without hesitation. Then she showed him the emails. The color drained from his face. He tried to explain it was a mistake. He didn't mean for it to happen. It didn't mean anything, but the words didn't matter anymore. Emily didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She just looked at him and said, "You didn't just cheat on me, Ryan. You destroyed something I'll never get back." He begged her to stay, to forgive him, but she couldn't. That night, she packed a bag and left the apartment that once felt like home. For weeks, Emily couldn't sleep. She kept replaying every moment in her head, trying to see where things went wrong. Friends told her to move on, but healing doesn't work like that. It took time, months of tears, therapy, and rediscovering who she was before him. Eventually, she stopped checking his social media. She stopped wondering if he missed her. She realized that love without honesty is just a beautiful lie. A year later, she stood again at that same coffee shop where it all began. The barista recognized her and smiled. As she waited for her drink, she noticed the rain outside, just like the first day she met Ryan. But this time, she didn't feel broken. She felt free. Sometimes betrayal doesn't end your story, it just changes the chapter. Emily learned that the love she was searching for wasn't in someone else's promises. It was in her own strength, her ability to walk away, and her courage to start again. And as she walked out into the rain, she smiled softly to herself, whispering, "It was big, but I'm bigger."